Diplomacy is a subtle art. American journalist Isaac Goldberg called it the nicest way of doing the nastiest things. By and large, world leaders have followed this. Even while condemning their counterparts, there is a semblance of respect. But sometimes they drop the pretense. And when they do, there can be consequences. The already strained ties between the US and Russia are on the verge of collapse because Joe Biden let loose in a recent interview. Listen carefully to this. The US president called Vladimir Putin a killer, a man with no soul. This is his Russian counterpart Biden is talking about, the leader of America's longest-standing rival. You have to hear it to believe it.
Vladimir Putin, you think he's a killer?
I do.
So what price must he pay?
The price he's going to pay, well, you'll see shortly.
Biden was addressing the U.S. report that accused Russia of meddling in the 2020 elections. Not from his corner, but Donald Trump's. Now, Vladimir Putin is not some political novice. He is a former KGB officer. He's seen the Cold War. He's ruled Russia for more than 2 decades, so trust him to return the compliment.
And you know, I remember in my childhood, when we argued in the courtyard, we used to say, it takes one to know one. And that's not a coincidence, not just a children's saying or joke. It has deep psychological meaning. We always see our own traits in other people and think they are like how we really are.
Takes one to know one. That's Putin's response. It's a sign of the times we live in. World leaders are calling each other murderers. Both sides are on the offensive, but they're also leaving the door open for strategic cooperation. Putin says Russia will work on its own terms. Biden is talking about making Russia pay. But truth be told, the US president may have crossed a line and Russia is not going to let this go. The Kremlin wants an apology from the president of the United States. Might as well have asked for the White House. Russia has recalled its envoy to Washington. It says it wants to halt irreversible deterioration of ties. Talking tough on Russia is a presidential obligation. Calling their president a killer, well, not so much. The same goes for Putin. They're both within their rights to criticize each other and also sanction each other, but in diplomacy, language matters. Let me give you an instance from 2006. The setting was the United Nations General Assembly. The speaker, Venezuela's President Hugo Chavez, he called the then US President George Bush a devil. America was outraged. Democrat Nancy Pelosi defended her Republican president, who, by the way, had rock-bottom approval ratings at that point. So intent matters, yes, but so do words. A livid Russia on one corner, but that's not Biden's only concern. He's got a belligerent China and North Korea to tackle. America is shoring up its alliances in Asia. Top diplomat Antony Blinken and Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin are wrapping up the second leg of their tour in South Korea. They held 2+2 dialogues with their South Korean counterparts and also met President Moon Jae-in. Top priority was denuclearizing the Korean peninsula. Secretary Blinken said America was considering its options, but the problem is North Korea does not seem interested. Washington has been reaching out since mid-February. Pyongyang calls it a cheap trick. The US-Japan-South Korea alliance is the bulwark against the North. But as they exert more pressure, North Korea moves closer to its only ally, China. On his return journey from Seoul, Antony Blinken will make a stop in Alaska. There he will meet top Chinese officials, including Foreign Minister Wang Yi. This will be the first meeting between the two sides under Joe Biden. And what a setting. The cold wastes of Alaska, almost symbolic of where US-China ties are right now. Here's the first thing you need to know about the talks. Both sides are going in with no expectations. Chinese officials have already clarified on 2 issues: no compromise on Xinjiang or Hong Kong. But the US will most likely raise them anyway. Beijing wants a rollback of Trump-era policies. Biden and Trump disagreed on most issues, but China was not one of them. Blinken will arrive in Alaska with a lot of momentum. He's just been to Japan and South Korea, key Pacific allies of the US. It's almost certain that the White House choreographed the visit this way. But here's a big question. Is a Xi-Biden meet on the cards too? Well, both sides are tight-lipped, but American media reports indicate that China is interested. If the meeting goes well, China could seek a summit. The date, April 22nd, keeps popping up. It's Earth Day. Climate change will be the focus, a strategically benign yet consequential issue. Now we check the forecast. It's going to be -6 degrees in Alaska on Thursday. It's going to be cold, dull and dry. But inside the meeting room, things could get a lot more heated up. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.